Okay, let us look into a new topic on serialization today. So, topic is going to be the customized serialization. Okay, so, what is a customized serialization? Before even understanding about this customized serialization, we will try to understand a few drawbacks in the serialization flow. For example, let us say that I have a class called account class. So my account class has, for the simplicity, I am taking the two variables. One is the name and the second one is what? Second one is the password. So which one is the sensitive information here? Name or the password? Which one do you feel that the password is very much sensitive, right? So whenever you are trying to do the serialization, definitely, we need to ensure that the class has to implement the serializable interface, right? Serializable interface. Okay, and also we need to ensure that the password is protected, so we use the transient keyword. Okay, this account object is going to participate in the serialization. If you are trying to transfer this data into your network, let's say that you are just trying to transfer this data into a network, which variables will participate in the serialization? Only the name variable will be participating in the serialization. Yes or no? Only the name variable will go through the serialization, right? So this is the, assume that this is the sender side and you have something over, you have something after the network. Okay, you have something after the network, which is what? Let us say that it is a receiver application. So in between the sender and receiver application, you are using the network to transfer the data. But what kind of data you want to transfer? You want to transfer you want to protect the secure data. You just want to transfer the ideal data like the name here, right? So only name will be transferred, name will be serialized over the network, and on the receiving side, okay, this system can capture the name information. Okay, but let us say that the receiver application, okay, this is sender application, this is the receiver application. Let us say that the receiver application also wants your password so that it can perform some operation. The receiver application also want to want your password. It should have your name as well as it should also have your password so that the receiver application can perform some operation. But the problem here is it is very much important to secure the highly sensitive information like password here. Moment you start using the transient keyword, you cannot, even though you use the serialization, the password field will not be serialized. So from the receiving side, the password will always be null. But you cannot log in, you cannot do the manipulation, you cannot do the manipulation in the receiver application only with the name. Okay, you get the name, but in the password field you get the value as null. But you want the real password here. You want the real password, but this real password cannot be, you cannot send it to the network because you have used the transient keyword. Okay, if you want to achieve this, even though you're using the transient keyword, if you want to find a way to send the password, when I say find a way, can we say that the password can be masked and sent? Okay, the password field can be masked and sent from the sender to receiver through the network. Or else can I also say that, let us say that your password is let us say that your password is something like good morning. This is a password. Okay, can I say that you can do a kind of manipulation, like you can code your password in them. You can add some additional data, like you can append something like 123. Okay, and you can append, you can prefix 123, and you can also suffix something like 567, right? And in the middle also you can add something like 111. Okay, so you have added these things, you have added 123, you have added 111, you have added 567 along with your password. You are mixing your password with some integers, right? And you can send this. So you have mixed your password with some integer values, 123, 111, and 567. You're adding something. from the receiver side. Okay, and you can send like this. Even though if the hacker tries to steal your information, he will not understand in such a way that you will be adding some, you will be mixing some other data. You are doing some extra work here on the password. You are doing some extra work so that you will send the password along with some other information, so that even though when the hacker tries to steal your data, he will not understand them. Are you able to understand what I'm trying to say? You'll add something. When you're adding something on the sender side, on the receiver side, you have to remove that something, right? Yes or no? Hello?
Yes.
So what you have added here? So you have added 1, 2, 3, 111, 567 on so and so, on so and so indexes. On so and so indexes, you added this data. So this is the what? This is something called as what? This is something called as a lock. Okay, you have created a lock here. Okay, from the sender, this is called as a lock, and in the receiving side, you need to do what? You need to unlock it, right? How do you unlock it? The sender and the receiver should have a common understanding, right? Sender app and receiver app should have a common understanding that the sender is going to add something, okay, that needs to be removed from the receiver side. The common data. You will understand. When the common understanding between the sender and receiver application. Right, so this concept is typically called as what? The encryption and decryption. Okay, you encrypt the sensitive information so that in the network this will not be what? This will not be stolen. Even though even though it is stolen, it is not understood. Yes or no? So you are getting this, what I'm trying to say. So this concept is called as what? Customized serialization. So what is a customized serialization? When you have any sensitive, first thing, very simple thing, when you have any sensitive information, password is sensitive information. You protect your password with the transient keyword. This is very clear. Okay, this password variable will not participate in the serialization. You cannot transfer it to the network. The receiving side is always null. Okay? But you will take help of another variable. You will take help of another variable. Another variable can be what? Encrypted. Encrypted password. Name of the variable is encrypted password. What you do, you will use the existing variable, which is what? You use the actual value of the password and you add some other characters here so that the password doesn't look like a password. So you add some other characters, some other extra characters. Okay, now this will be participating in the serialization. This will be participating in the serialization. It will not go as a password, it will go as a encrypted password, even though if you are passing it through the network, okay, the hackers cannot steal it. Even though if they are stealing it, they cannot understand it. This is a concept. This concept is called as what? Custom serialization. You may be asking, in the network, how the hackers are going to steal the data? Do you have that doubt? Yeah. Do you know how the hackers are going to steal the data?
No, sir.
Usually hackers, they use a lot of tools. They use lot of, there are a lot of tools outside in the market. Something like they use see, if one person, if 100 persons are connected to the same network, let us say that the network is a Wi-Fi network. Okay, through Wi-Fi they can do what? They can they can use some extra, they can use some additional websites. There are some dedicated website which is used to steal the data, right? You call it as what? You call it as something like, if you have time you can just do a research on this. Wireshark is there. Wireshark is a tool, right? So this Wireshark will try to do what? The Wireshark will try to identify all the data that is passing through a dedicated network. In this case, let us say that your home Wi-Fi itself. So how many persons can connect to your home Wi-Fi? Your family members, right? So do you think that you can hack your family members data? For example, your brother is using WhatsApp, some other person is using some other thing, but they are using the common Wi-Fi, yes or no? At least 5 persons can use a at least more than 5 persons can use a common Wi-Fi, right? If you want to hack if you want to hack their data, if you want to hack the things that they're actually doing, okay, you can use a tool like what the Wireshark and all. Okay. So this is one of the ways to do the ethical hacking. So to avoid, that's the reason why every time when you are dealing with two distributed systems, right, you ensure that the passwords or any sensitive information is protected, like your credit card number or like your PIN number, everything is protected. Okay, so this custom serialization is the foundation level to understand how to mask the data, or how to how to transfer the actual data with a kind of locking mechanism. Locking in the sense, I mean, you can add some additional characters, or you can encrypt with some other data, so that even though it is stolen, it is not readable. Let's jump to the topic actually. Okay, let us say that let me create the account class. Account class has two variables. String variable name is name, username, let me say username. Another variable is string password. So which is the sensitive information do you think here? Password isn't, right? So I'm using the transient keyword, right? So I am generating the setters, I'm generating the constructors, so that the variables will get populated. Generator constructor using fields. Okay, we have the constructor. You can populate this variable. Okay. So how I can ensure that my account classes or my account object can participate in the serialization?
Extends to serialization.
I mean, implements serializable is a marker interface. Right? Serializable interface. So this is now serializable, it will participate in serialization. Okay. Now basically, when you try to do what? Okay, let us say that you create an object for the account class. Okay, so account ACC equal to new account. So since we have the constructor, we can set the data. Okay, you want to you usually set the real data. Okay, the username is Balaji123. The password is, okay, username is Balaji. Let me say the password is 123. Password is something like Balaji123. Very simple username and the password. Okay, so what you actually do, you use what? File output stream, right? File output stream, FIS equal to new file output stream. Let us use a location. I'm going to use this location with the file name account.scr. Okay, it will throw an exception. Let us use the throws declaration. We will delegate the exception to the JVM. So next, what is it? Object output stream, right? Object output stream OIS equal to new object output stream. So you just pass the reference variable of file output stream, and it also throws an exception. Okay, you can delegate it to the caller method JVM. Things are clear so far. Now, what is the method to write the object inside this particular file? Okay, you know the method, which is what? Right? Object method. So what object you want to write? You want to write the account object. So this process is called as what? Serialization, right? So after serializing it, you know that the data, the byte version will be stored inside this location. Then you want to do the deserialization. Deserialization. Okay, for the deserialization, what is the command? File input stream. You have received file input stream. Okay, I have used OS file input stream FIS equal to new file input stream. File input stream, and you want to use the same file. Let me copy this and put it here. Next one is what? Object input stream. Object input stream OAS equal to new object input stream, which will accept the parameter of file input stream reference. Then OAS dot read object. Okay, what object you want to read? So in the file, account object has been stored. So you want to read the account object. You have to convert. You have to typecast it to account because it returns the type as the return type is object type. Again, post declaration. Okay. Now you see system.out.println acc1 dot username acc1 dot password. What do you think the output is going to be now? You can tell me. What will be the output? So which fields are participating in the serialization? Only the name username field, right? Yes or no? Password will not participate. So the output is going to be what? You get the username as it is. Since the password is not participating, so you get what? You get password as null. Okay. But what we are trying to learn today, we are trying to understand about the custom serialization. You want to use the password, you want to retrieve the password as it is. Okay. And also you want to ensure that the password is not getting compromised. If you remove the transient keyword, don't you think that the password field will also participate here? Now you will get the actual output. But you do not, the first case, I mean the first important thing that you need to do is you need to ensure that the productive field or the sensitive information or sensitive variable is being protected with the transient keyword. But still you want to, somehow you need to receive this, somehow you need to pass this into the file and need to receive this, right? So what I'm trying to do is, you have the file, so you have created the file what? Account.ser, right? Account.ser. Okay. So since you are using the transient keyword, your username is Balaji, password is 123, right? So only Balaji will be participating. For the password, null will be there in the file. The object is created and object is transferred to the file, and in the respective file you have the serialized version of the object, but the value is going to be null. You cannot read this somehow, but this is how it is going to show internally. Okay. Now let us understand the control flow. Movement to start file output stream. Okay, it will try to open this file or it will try to locate this file. If the file is not available, the file will be created. Okay, the moment to start using object output stream object will be created, right? After this creation, what happens? The JVM will automatically call. The JVM will automatically call one very important method. So you will not call this, you will not see how the JVM is calling this, but internally JVM is calling this particular method for you. What is that method? There is a method called the write object method. So there is a method called write object method. This write object method is part of this write object method is part of object output stream class. Let me repeat. There is a method called write object method. The job of the write object method is to do what? It will check all the non-transient variable and non-static variable. So here you have only one non-transient and non-static variable, yes or no? Okay. You have only this variable, right? Non-transient, non-static. Okay. The write object method, this is the method that is doing what? That is actually pushing this non-transient and non-static method to participate in the serialization. You don't see these things, okay? The control flow would be like, okay, the control, if you just look at the code, okay, the control starts from main method. Okay, this is clear, this is also clear. Okay. At the time of calling object output stream, you are calling the write object method explicitly here. You're calling the write object method explicitly here. But before this, okay, this write object method call, it's a default call in the sense there is a write object method which is going to accept what? Going to accept object output stream OAS variable. This is responsible. This write object method will be called by JVM, which is responsible to push all the non-transient and the non-static variables. Okay, but now this time what you want to do? You should not depend upon the JVM, because if you depend upon the JVM is going to skip what? The transient field. To depend upon the JVM, definitely the JVM will definitely skip what? Transient field. Okay, but if you do not want to depend on JVM, you need to write this write object method directly. Okay, I will tell you how to write it. Just go back to the code. Okay, so inside the account class, explicitly, manually you call the write object method. Okay, this method prototype is what? Private, and the return type of this method is void. Okay, this method will accept a parameter which is what? Object output stream OAS. Will throw an exception, handle that. So private void write object method. If you're not writing it, JVM will call internally. JVM will take care of it. But you do not want to delegate the work to JVM. Why you do not want to delegate the work to JVM? If you give this work to the JVM, JVM will only perform what? Only perform the serialization operation on non-transient variables. Okay? That's why you're not giving the job to the JVM. You're writing the code explicitly. Now the JVM will see, as soon as it encounters this line, the JVM is going to check, is there any write object method inside the serializable class? So there is a write object method here. Okay, the control will be coming. To understand the control, let us see that. Control. Now you tell me, are we calling this method explicitly?
No, sir.
Let me run this. Now we see control is here. Forget about this exception, I will tell you. Steam character is something, because we have to add so many things. So control is getting transferred here, because I am just added a line in line number 23 saying that control is. It means JVM is sitting here. You are not calling this method explicitly. Okay, you are calling this over here. OOS dot write object. OOS dot write object, and passing what? The account object. Okay, so control is coming here. Control is coming here. This time you are transferring the control explicitly. If you are not using this, you have to think that this will be called by JVM automatically somewhere in the library. Write object. You are calling it now write object, but you don't know where the method is actually. I mean, you know the method, but the operation is abstracted. You're transferring the control, but you are not overriding it. Here, what you are doing to, instead of transferring the control to the JVM, you are overriding it, which means you are stopping the control here. After stopping the control, you are performing the manipulations here. What kind of manipulations you are going to perform? Okay. The first manipulation is, okay, you will just consume this reference variable OIS. What you will do? You will just consume the reference variable, which is what? OIS. Okay, and you call the default, there is a default write object method. Now you are saying that, now you are telling that, okay, you are telling the JVM explicitly that try to do what? Try to serialize all the non-transient and non-static variables here. Even though if you are not doing it, JVM will be doing it for you. But here you are being very specific. JVM, you don't do it, I will be doing it by myself. You are telling the JVM explicitly. Why we are telling it the JVM explicitly means to deal with this transient queue. Okay, if you remove this, JVM is going to do the same thing that we are doing now. if you place this, you need to understand that you are also trying to do some manipulations on the password variable so that you will get the data as it is. Making sense? Even though if you write this or if you don't write this, JVM is going to do the default, call the default write object that is going to take care of the non-transient variables to participate in the serialization. Right? Now understand the beauty here. Okay, after this, what you are trying to do, so that just identify the password field is protected with a transient keyword, right? What you do is you just give an encrypted logic here. You say that you take a variable like encrypted password equal to, okay, and you take this password, okay, add concatenate 123 on it. You are just encrypting it. So this is simply way of encrypting it. Whatever the password that you pass, that will be prefixed with 123. Whatever the password that you pass, that will just be prefixed with what? That will be prefixed to 123. Okay. After doing this, you write this object, you write this reference variable in the file. What happens now? You are not involving the password variable directly, right? But you are taking the password, taking the data from the password, and you're adding something for the encryption, and you are allowing this EPWD variable in the serialization, which means, okay, so you're not using the password field directly. Okay, instead of that, in the write object method, you are encrypting the password. How the password is encrypted? 123 plus Balaji. So you have what? Balaji 123, and you are assigning this to a variable called E encrypted password, EPWD. Okay. And after this, you are writing this variable into the file. Okay, now this variable will be participating in the this value will be participating in the serialization. Okay, the actual variable will have null itself. It will remain the same. Right? Understand? The actual variable will remain the same. So the what we call it as the password will be null only, but the encrypted password will have the will retain the data with some encryption logic, which is taken care by which method is taken care by this what we call it as the write object method. Okay. Few things I will tell. The write object method, if you are not calling it, JVM will call it first of all. But if you want to do some experiment, or if you want to add some masking logic or the encryption logic on all the transient fields, okay, you will explicitly call the write object method. You will not give the work to JVM. If you give the work to JVM, JVM will do what? It will just serialize this username. That's it. Okay, you give the work to you take the work. JVM is going to hand over the work to you now. Okay, first line is going to do what? It's going to allow the non-transient variables to participate in serialization. This is fine. Here you are adding an extra variable. In this extra variable, you are taking the information of the actual transient variable, I mean password, and you're encrypting some logic. You're adding some data like 123. So the password is encrypted now. Now you are writing this encrypted data. Instead of using the password directly, you're using the password indirectly and adding some other data so that the password remains protected. Are you getting this?
Yes, sir.
Right? See, for example, what example I can give? Okay, understand the example like this. Do you know during elections, people smuggle lot of money between two different areas or two different states. Do you know this concept? People smuggle a lot of money. Because smuggling is a kind of an illegal activity, isn't it? Okay, how they smuggle money? So see, usually they take uh, they do the smuggling things on vehicles, on smaller vehicles. like they sometimes they take cycle also, they take a bike also, they hide the money in the petrol tank, under the seat, wherever the possibilities are there, they do, they do that because they want to hide that, they want to hide that counterfeit, or they want to hide that illegal money from the election commission officers, right? Because if they see the money directly, that will be seized, right? So what they do, so for according to their version, the money is very protected for them, yes or no? According to their version, according to the smugglers, the money is very much protected for them during the election, which means they need to hide this. They cannot carry these things directly. How they will hide this? So if you take a lorry with huge amount of load, I mean that is onion lorry, onions, a load of onions on a lorry, on a truck. Okay. So let us say that they carry a lot of onion bags. In each and every bag, they keep some money. They hide some money. Right? So don't you think that money and onions are bundled here? Money plus onions are bundled together in a bag. So this is a kind of reducing the suspicion, right? Yes or no? Hello.
Yes.
So now they can comfortably, even though they are doing this smuggling, they can comfortably carry this because it is not giving a kind of suspicion to the police officers. They think, okay, this is onion bags. If they keep a small bundle of money here, if you say 99% onions will be there and one bundle of money will be there, 1% of money will be there. You count like that for all the onion bags, okay? They get they smuggle the money that is actually required, because here money is the point here, right? It has to be protected. Likewise, the encryption is also like that. You have a data. Let us say that you have a data like very much secure information, like your ATM pin. Let me say that 999 is your ATM pin. Instead of transferring this data over the network directly, okay. So here in this case, in the network, if you are talking about the network, right? So who are the hackers or what? Hackers are just like the police officers. I mean, I'm giving the what we call it as in all the direct comparison. Hackers are just like the police officers. You want to hide the data from the hackers. So what you do, along with 999, you add some other data for confusion, or else you can do something like this. Along with 999, you will add something like, let us say that the password is 999. You minus this with 222. So the password become what? 7777. But this is not the actual password. This is the code. This is the lock, and you can get the retrieve the actual data by removing this, right? By adding this. If you're removing this here, you need to add this on the other side, right? On the other side, 7777 plus 222. Actual password is required. So this information is between the two communication layers. I mean, the sender and the receiver. Sender will remove some data by adding some logic, and receiver will add that. This lock, this is unlock. This is how the information is protected. So now tell me, are we using the data, actual data here? Yes or no? Actual data is also getting participated here, right? But it is getting converted. Hello?
Yes.
Actual data. I mean, in this example, the password is actually getting participated, but along with some other data for the encryption. So this is participating in the encryption logic. I mean, this is getting participation in the serialization. But the serialization, you have a data. The data is what? Password, but that is encrypted. Instead of using this, you are using this plus this, so that it is encrypted. Okay, encryption is completely fine. Okay, if I run this code, okay, again you are getting none. Why? Because you just go back and see. So you have successfully encrypted your password like 123 plus Balaji 123. Balaji 123 is the actual password. You are adding some other data so that it is encrypted. Okay, now this is participating in serialization. This participating, but you want to deserialize it. And again, for the deserialization, if you go by the code, you have what you have. You have file input stream, right? And if you are not using the read object, by default, okay, the JVM is going to call this read object. but you want to have your own logic on the read object in such a way that you can give the decryption logic. Okay, so there is another method called private void read object method. So instead of giving the control to the JVM, you are handling this so that you can perform the, you can add the decrypted logic here. Right, so object output string, so here object input string, I have used OI as, okay, object O, let me say object OI, object input string, just I'm using OI. Okay. So firstly you need to ensure that you want to deserialize all the non-transient variables. So OI dot default read object is there. So this will ensure that it is going to read all the non-transient variables, all the deserialized non-transient variables. Okay. After this, you will add what? You will add the decryption logic. So this is the encrypted data. You want to decrypt it, right? So how do you do the decryption? First, you collect the data. First, you receive the data. What data you want to receive? Okay, this data is, this Balaji is already received because default read object is taking care of deserializing this Balaji. Okay, but you want to deserialize this. This is the customized object, customized variable, which is what? Just the combination of a number plus your password. You need to deserialize this. Okay, how we are going to deserialize this? Usual way. Okay, we just do what? We just use the read in a read object. Just you just call the read object method, right? OI dot read object method. Okay, so your encrypted password is in the form of string, so you collect it by using the string decrypted password. Okay, it is going to of object type cast to string. Okay, now this password is going to get decrypted. This password is going to get decrypted. After decrypting password, okay, what logic you want to write here is, okay, so again it is going to return a string, or let me say that, so this field is going to have what? Decrypt is going to have 123 Balaji 123, right? 123 Balaji 123. So what you can do here, you can just use a concept of substring. A substring start from the 3. So your password is encrypted with like this in 123 Balaji 123. Right, so we want to remove first 1 2 3. So in the string class you have something like substring, right? 0 1, the index start from 0 1 2 3 like that, 1 2 3 like that. So you just extract the data from the third index. The same thing I'm using here, substring 3. Okay. So after getting this, you assign this value to the password field. Now the password is going to be decrypting the data and getting the substring of 3, which means 1 2 3 will be removed. 1 2 3 is getting added here, and this is going to remove the 1 2 3. And at the time of deserialization, you are giving this data, you are setting this data. Let me set it to the password itself. Okay, so what is happening behind the scenes? So the actual variable Balaji and Balaji 123. Balaji is a non-transient variable that is participating in this serialization. It will be stored in the file. Okay, but Balaji 123 is the password, so it is a transient keyword, but you are using null. Additionally, you are manually overriding the read write object method, which means you are taking the control. Okay? And the first line itself, you are saying you are doing it now. You are giving the instruction saying that deserialize the non-transient variables. Okay, this is taking care of that. After this, you are creating an extra variable. This extra variable is making use of the password variable along with the adding some logic which is called as what? The encryption. You added 1 2 3 here. At the time of decryption, removing that 1 2 3 by using the substring. Okay, now you are not making use of this password. You are making use of this additional variable, or you're doing some additional work, so that you're doing some manipulation of the password, and you're doing what? You're encrypting the password and decrypting it according to the logic between sender and the receiver. So this is the common logic that has to be. Here the key is what? Here the locking mechanism is you're adding 1 2 3 that needs to be removed at the time of deserialization. Okay, now if you run this piece of code, instead of null, you will get Balaji 1 2 3. Why Balaji 1 2 3? Because after the decryption, you are setting this value. Value will be Balaji 1 2 3, right? Balaji 1 2 3. This value is assigned to the password field itself. Now let us say that, okay, you are not using this default write object, or you're not using this default default read object and default write object. What happens when you're not using this default read object and default write object? Okay. Let me run this. Now the actual fields are not getting participated. The non-transient fields are not getting participated. Are you seeing this? Hello? Default write object or default read object, what the job of the write object, default write object, even though no, you are not, if you're not using this write object method, read object method, JVM will call this default write object, default read object. We will call that method because these are the methods that is actually performing the, is actually serializing the variables that is of non-transient type. If you are not calling this default read object or write object method, that will not participate in the serialization. Right? Now, which will participate in the serialization? Since you are calling default write object method, only name will participate. Transient keyword will not be participate. This is the problem that you're facing. Somehow we need to transfer this data. Somehow we need to transfer this data. So what you're doing, you are just making use of this password variable and adding some other, you can add any value. I'm adding some other value here, like 1 2 3. I'm just appending 1 2 3. Okay, I know I have appended 1 2 3. That's why at the time of deserialization, I'm removing this 1 2 3 by using the substring method. I'm able to retrieve the actual password now. So password I'm passing Balaji 1 2 3 is getting appended with 1 2 3 Balaji 1 2 3. At the time of deserialization, I'm getting the actual. I'm able to retrieve the complete password. Right? Usually in the real-time applications, even though you do not have to worry about this transient keyword. Okay, this HTTP request. Okay, whenever the request that you are sending, it is HTTPS. This request itself will take care of what? It will take care of all the security things. No hacker can read the payload. No hacker can read the payload. But additionally, is some additional layer from the Java side. We are giving this protection. Java side we are taking this protection, but these things will be taken care by HTTPS. When the request is HTTPS, that will be taken care. But if it is HTTP, it will not be taken care. So we need to depend upon this transient key. These are the high level understanding. Okay, you do not want to worry about this HTTPS and HTTP for now. This is a basic understanding about how you override. How you ensure that the secured information are transmitted by using the write object or the read object method manually. That understanding is enough for. Right? So here the logic is, for the simplicity I have taken this, but if you want, you can write the complex logic, like there is something called base base 64 encoder, base 64. This is inbuilt encoders, inbuilt encrypted logic. Okay, it is part of the string class. You call the get encoder method. So this get encoder method, you can do what? You can just encode the password, encode to string. We will just pass the password here. Actual password in the form of bytes. Actual password dot get bytes. Your password will be encrypted by the Java program, right? Will encrypt by the Java program. It is going to add its logic, the Java logic here. Likewise, during the decryption, you do the same thing. You perform the same thing. Encryption wise, okay. During the decryption, you also perform the same thing. What you can do here is, you can directly call the new inside the new string. You can pass again base 64 dot get decoder, okay, dot decode, okay, dot this decrypt message. Let me print this. You'll understand what is actually happening. Okay, how the encrypted password looks like, how it does look like at the time of decryption. Okay, this is how the encrypted password looks like. Whatever the password that you give, it is getting encrypted like this. Do you think the hacker can able to hack your account because password is not correct and it is not even clear, right? The data is not even clear, right? For example, if you add a different password like balaji@gmail.com, it will get encrypted in a different way. Is it understandable? Hello? This is the internal encrypted logic. You can also write your own encrypted logic. Just for the understanding purpose, I am giving this. This is the internal thing. This is given by the string class. I mean, sorry, not string class. There is a base 64 factory class is there. It's in the util package. Return type is string. Right? We quick recap what I have done. We have just today we are trying to understand about the customized serialization. The purpose is for all the variables, when you have a variables with a transient keyword, right? Instead of transferring the data directly, you encrypt the data. To write the encrypted data, use write object method. To read that encrypted data, use the read object method. So even though if you're writing the write object or read object method manually, if you're not writing it, JVM will call automatically. But JVM will not give, you need to take care of giving the additional logic. You need to take care of encrypting. So that is the reason why you are overriding it and you are taking the control from JVM. First, you are calling the default writer object, which will take care of the transmitting the non-transient variables to the file. Then you write the encryption logic. Okay? So passing the password directly as password, you encrypt the password and pass it and receive it. These two things, okay, if you just remember these two methods, write object method and read object method, then this is called as what? Custom serialization. You have to remember what? Write object and read object. You need to call the write object and read object method manually, or you need to override it. If you are just commenting this, okay, the non-transient variables will not participate. You will get null for the non-transient variables. Null. Password is getting participated. Making sense? Just do this. Just do some recap. Okay. Just try to do some research. If you're not getting this, just replicate this code. You'll find answers. Okay, tomorrow we'll see externalization. Okay, then tomorrow this what we call it as the serialization concept will be over. Then we will start multi-threading. Then Java will be